Friends, let me also inform you that following the delegation level talks today, 4 bilateral documents were signed during the visit. The first one is a memorandum of understanding on defense cooperation. The second one is a cultural exchange program for the years 2025 to 2029. The second is an executive program on cooperation in the field of sports for the period 2025 to 2028. We also had Kuwait joining as a member of the International Solar Alliance. Friends, as we are at the last stage of conclusion of the Prime Minister's visit, I would like to reiterate that we are pretty confident that this historic visit of the Prime Minister will open up a new chapter in the relationship between India and Kuwait. Both the sides have been able to identify several important areas of cooperation, and the governments will be working towards fulfillment of the plans that have been made during this visit. I stop here, and I would be happy to receive a few questions. Just wanted to inform you that the time with us is very, very short. Thank you.
Okay, let's open the floor. Yeah, we have a question there from Sahil, ANI.
I'm Sahil Pandey from ANI News Agency. You talked about the MOU signed in a defense cooperation. Could you talk about that? And also, was there any discussion on the safety of Indian workers?
Mm-hmm. Have a question there? Yeah. Please.
I'm Samira from Nahar newspaper. I need to ask Excellency about the defense cooperation between Kuwait and India. We need to have more details about it.
Defense cooperation. Okay. Any further questions? Please.
My name is Nixon from Asia News. Sir, actually, as here you have a contract with the health sector as well education sector. You know, there is more than 30,000 of nurses are in Kuwait. And there is going everything smoothly, but also up to almost 20 years, there is no increment for nurses' salaries. So while your discussion, is there any chance or maybe in the future you will do on that? You want to just know. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Okay. You have a question there?
सर CS जोशी फ्रॉम दूरदर्शन न्यूज सवाल ये है कि स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप की और जो एलिवेशन है ये किस तरह से आगे इससे संबंध और मजबूत होंगे?
Have a question? Okay, please.
I'm Paul Francis from the Arab Times. Was anything discussed about the pharmaceuticals?
Pharma. Okay. So you could address these questions?
Yeah, sure. Okay, let me first of all talk about the MOU between India and Kuwait in the field of defense cooperation. This MOU will institutionalize the bilateral cooperation in the areas of defense. The key areas of cooperation would include training, exchange of personnel and experts, joint exercises, cooperation in defense industry, supply of defense equipment, and collaboration in research and development. So this summarizes it. I may also therefore add, since I have just decided to talk about the agreements, the cultural exchange program which I mentioned will facilitate greater cultural exchanges in art, music, dance, literature and theatre, cooperation in preservation of cultural heritage, research and development in the areas of culture, and organization of festivals. The executive program for cooperation in the field of sports, let me mention, will strengthen bilateral cooperation in the fields of sports between India and Kuwait by promoting exchange of visits of sports leaders for experience sharing, participation in programs and projects in the field of sports, exchange of expertise in sports medicine, sports management, sports media, sports science, among some of the areas that we have identified. And of course, the International Solar Alliance, Kuwait becoming a member, collectively covers the deployment of solar energy and addresses key common challenges to the scaling up of use of solar energy for to help member states develop low carbon growth trajectories. So here I thought I'll give you a rough idea of all the agreements that we have signed. Regarding the health and education sector, see, both the sides, acknowledged the important contribution that our Indians are making in the Kuwaiti economy. The Prime Minister thanked the honorable leadership of Kuwait, the Amir, the Crown Prince, as well as the honorable Prime Minister, for taking care of the large Indian diaspora, which is around 1 million today. And the Kuwaiti side also acknowledged the major contribution that the Indian diaspora is making for the development of the Kuwaiti economy. The issues like sector-specific on health, on education, we have separate working groups that have been set up. Both the leaders, the leadership of both the countries have agreed that these working groups will be meeting frequently and regularly to identify new areas of cooperation. Also, I want to inform you on the manpower front also, we have a joint working group that exclusively looks at manpower related issues of Indians in Kuwait, and that working group usually looks at and addresses the major things, the major issues that are there in this sector. But in the general context, the leaders discussed about the contribution of the Indian community here. Strategic partnership, as DD News asked about it. Yes, the elevation of a relationship to a strategic partnership means you have taken your bilateral relationship to the next level, which means you will have greater intensity of cooperation in several areas. Plus, we have identified new areas which I mentioned in my statement. It will actually enhance our cooperation in the areas that we have. We will identify new areas of cooperation between the two countries, and you will see more intensification of exchanges and visits in the coming days to materialize whatever has been planned in by the leaders of both the countries. Pharmaceuticals, yes, as I mentioned, health and pharmaceuticals is one important area which both the sides have identified for cooperation, and that could include investments by the Kuwaiti side in India, or expansion of the trade basket to increase pharmaceutical exports also from India. So pharma would continue to be one of the important sectors of cooperation between our two countries. Thank you.
One last question, sir. वेस्ट एशिया में जो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट चल रहे हैं, इसको लेकर के कोई टॉप लीडरशिप के साथ बातचीत में कहीं पे कोई इस तरह का
Anything further?
Sir, sorry? Okay, the question was whether the issue of the conflict in West Asia discussed between the leaders.
That's it. See, in general, the two sides discussed cooperation between India and the Gulf Cooperation Council, which is now Kuwait is the chair, and we had the recent strategic dialogue between India and GCC at the level of the Minister of External Affairs in the month of September. Now Kuwait has taken over the chairmanship of GCC. The Honorable Prime Minister congratulated the Kuwaiti leadership, and we look forward for a very intense cooperation between India and the GCC through through Kuwait's chairmanship of the Gulf Cooperation Council. So that was the main factor for discussion during this visit.